be a common app?
So the goal with this would be that you log on to the Office of Financial Aid and Scholarships website, and they have a very general questionnaire. You can call it questionnaire, application, whatever. You fill in your information, and then you say that you're a political science major, and you're a female, and you're a minority, and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, it pops up that you're eligible for all these scholarships, and then you go ahead and go to those applications and apply for them. But somewhere where students can find out everything that there is available to them, instead of having to go to each different website. There's a million websites now, departments, to see what's available to them. If you're marked that you're in Greek life, and all of a sudden the Greek life scholarship pops up. If you're in the core, the core scholarships pop up that you're eligible for them. And just make it easier for them.
Okay, thank you.
Senator Davis.
Currently, how many scholarships are not covered by the common application they have established right now?
I know they have a few of the academic departments, and every once in a while, the outside departments, such as multicultural services and stuff, will pop up. But they said they haven't gotten good responses yet. And I will give Senator Ostaviga, she has a comment on that. But they said they haven't gotten positive responses back from other departments as far as contributing to one way for questionnaire or scholarship common app to get more information out there. So they are trying, but they haven't gotten a good response yet, so it's pretty low.
Okay, further questions? Going once, going twice. Seeing none, Chair will close question and answer. Move into a period of debate. Do I see debate 4? Debate 4. Senator Bandry.
We talked about this in committee and in the exec side, and I think it's a great bill. There's nothing wrong with it. It does support each scholarship application being able to ask its own questions. So it's really just streamlining the process and making it easier for you to discover scholarships that you're actually eligible for. And with that, I yield to you.
Okay. Against, Senator Cleckley.
Mark Cleckley on campus. I agree with wanting to make things easier. I do. I'm not a big. That's weird. I am a big fan of making things easier for students. However, I am once again just staunchly against this bill. I'm going to tell you a little story. Once there was a little kid. He's about, I don't know, 6'10". You know, should have been a football player but wasn't. And he wanted to go to Texas A&M. And his name was Mark. And that little boy, he applied for 96 scholarships over the course of his senior year. 96 different scholarships. And because of that determination and that will to succeed and will to apply, was granted a very good sum of money to come attend here at Texas A&M. What I am just once again cautioning everybody against is I don't want to say make the process too easy, because I do agree that the process should be open and should be as accessible as possible for students. However, if you are wanting somebody to give you money to attend school for yourself, you should be willing to do the work to go out and find that money. And that's how I was able to do it. It was power of persistence. I just kept looking for scholarships and kept getting them. It was never well, I'm gonna go to this one website, get all the scholarships that came off that, and then I'm done. No, if you really want to succeed in this life, you have to continue to fight. You have to continue to look, you have to continue to better yourself and look for opportunities that you're willing to pursue and put in the work to get the job done and to get the results that you want. And so, just as a student, you come into this university, you got to be prepared to get rejected. You got to be prepared to work hard. And this bill is, it's great in theory, but I'm worried.
40 seconds.
That this bill is gonna have people go to one place to look for scholarships, and other scholarships are gonna be missed out because they weren't included in this process. And so if there's any chance that money go unnoticed because people weren't willing to look for it, I'm against it. And with that, I yield the floor.
Okay, thank you. Next up, Senator Sparzi, you have 4.
Here's Sparzi off campus. Senator Cleckley talked a lot about the real world, and if you think about it, there's a lot of different websites and companies and organizations that are willing to input your information to give you all the scholarships that you're eligible for. And that's exactly what this does. It's all internal. It's only here at the university scholarships. And it doesn't apply for you, doesn't give you an advantage or anything to make it easier. You know, I'm sure if you're winning one of those scholarships right now, you definitely don't want to make it easier for someone else to win it from you. But this is about the students though, and ensuring that everyone has a fair chance of applying. And that's all it would do. It would take your information, and it would tell you what you're eligible for. Going to the applications website, going to the different departments website, and actually applying for it would still be up to the individual. You'd have to go make the effort yourself to go apply for it. All this would do would give you a common place to find out everything that you're eligible for here at the university. It's something that the Office of Scholarships and Financial Aid has been pushing for a while, and they haven't gotten it because it's simply their office calling for it. If we can get it on a wider scale, if it's something of importance from maybe a university administrator that says, hey, this is to make it easier for students to apply, then departments would be much more welcoming to the idea and willing to give their information that makes people eligible for their scholarships so that students can apply their enrollment.
Howdy. I agree with Mark Fleckley, but only as a formality. No. I spend so much time in the financial aid office that they charge me rent there, and I had no idea that every application or every scholarship wasn't included on that common application. So I think this will do a lot to alleviate that concern, and I do think students need to have as much access to information. By all means, I didn't just apply for those scholarships. I also rooted around the counselor's office and did things like Mark to get that to get the scholarships that I did get. But this is only going to help students. So we applaud you for your hard work, Mark Fleckley. We're gonna have to go ahead and vote in favor of this bill to serve students. And with that, I yield the floor. Sorry, not the floor.
Senator Barry.
That's what I said. Put it on the app.
30 seconds.
I feel that we need to work for students, their abilities, their talents, and not just the amount of free time they happen to have on hand when they could be out improving themselves and not worrying about the scholarships. With that, I submit to
10 seconds.
Okay, I agree with Mark. You shouldn't have to work for each scholarship you get. This doesn't change that. You still have to apply for each scholarship individually. This just helps you find those scholarships that you're eligible for and bring us into the 21st century of actually having everything in one place.
Okay, debate against Senator Lusby.
I have to agree with Senator Quickly a lot on this. I'm a student that's funded 100% of my education by scholarships. And, I mean, I'm not saying that out of personal interest, but I also think that there is something to students having to put forth some effort. Yes, you might make a case that's the 21st century, but I'll make a case that the 21st century is lazy. And I'm in a college that has the application streamlined and on the Common App in College of Ag and Life Sciences. And I'm also a political science major, and the liberal arts department, as far as I know, does not put their application in the Common App. That doesn't mean that students aren't going to look for it. I work in the dean's office for the College of Ag that processes all these scholarship applications, and I guarantee you that the students that want scholarships are going to find them. And that's not the entire student body. So really, I don't really know that this is really going to be that beneficial to the masses of students. And it's also going to be detrimental to the number of students who are actually putting forth the extra effort and maybe finding those scholarships that have less competition. And I think that, you know, we have to serve those students as well, and I think there is a large majority of them too.
You want to pass the Cody game?
Cody.
How much time do I have?
About a minute.
Y'all mentioned, you know, it's a student's abilities and their talents. This goes into that. It's your ability and it's your talent to go find a scholarship. Because, I'm sorry, but you should have to work for a scholarship. A scholarship is merit based. A scholarship isn't something that you get just because. It's based on your merit and your potential. And I think the question, which is, how many of these scholarships that aren't a part of the Common App, how many they want it that way because they want to see who's going to come looking for it? You know, who's going to put in the extra time and extra effort? You know, y'all mentioned like you might not have time. No.
30 seconds.
You make time for this. This is one of the things you make time for. And that I yield to Senator.
Yeah.
Nicole Heath off campus. I understand why people want one common application. It makes it easy and everything. But these are all different departments, and different departments require different things. And I don't think that somebody to fill out the exact same application as I did should be able to get something for a whole entire different scholarship that has totally different requirements. And I yield to
Your time's up. Okay, with that, debate 4, Senator Motion has been made to question, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Finished, that passes. We will take previous question. This is a clicker vote. You 641. Okay.
Point of information.
6 point.
Do you get to have separate questions for different scholarships on the common application?
I will yield that to Speaker Hathaway.
Any department can add additional questions to their application. So while there's a common application, for example, I'm in the Bayes Business School and we have additional essays and requirements.
Can you widen the screen?
I'm sorry?
On the clicker thing, would you widen the screen?
Yeah.
Move it over.
No objection.
Sorry?
And freeze it with no objection.
Okay, can we freeze it?
I object.
There's an objection. If there, I don't really know how we handle that other than default is.
I thought the default was to freeze it. So that way you get it.
I don't think that's ever been the default.
The default, default.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think are we all done? Everybody good? Okay. Yeah, you can close it. That passes by a narrow margin. What's that? SB 6442, meal plan rollover bill. Yeah. Senate, please stay in order.
Howdy. Howdy. Just yesterday, I received an email from a senator at UT Pan Am, and he's asking me for support writing the legislation. Because they have similar rollover restrictions and mandatory regulations. So, with that introduction to my bill, this is what summarizes the bill. It calls for no minimum dining dollar transfer between the semesters, no purchase requirement in order for any amount of dining dollars to transfer to the following semester, and meals to convert to $7, which with the mandatory meal plan next year, it addresses this clause, but that's with the mandatory meal plan that the students don't agree to, and this bill is supposed to be implemented whether or not there's mandatory meal. I've come across overwhelming support for this bill. I've talked to my constituents and constituents in your caucus, and it has received favorable views. And Mr. Riddle himself said that if this is the student's opinion of the student body, then we should pass it and send it to him.
Okay, questions? Senate, please get back in order. I'm seeing some lot of side conversations. So with that, questions for the bill author? Going once, going twice, seeing none, we'll move to a period of debate. Do I see debate for this legislation? I'll see Senator Roos.
This bill is a fantastic idea. Students find meal plans are paying bukus of money for these meal plans. So basically, what it allows you to do is use that money the next semester. So common sense idea, vote for the bill.
Okay. Do I see debate against? Going once, going twice, see no debate against. Debate is one-sided. We'll move to period voting. This is SB 6442. Aye. Motion has been made for a voice vote. Seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Nay. Committee chair, the ayes do have it. We'll take a voice vote. All in favor of passing this bill, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? And in favor, opinion of the chair, that passes unanimously. SB 6443, the Stack Exchange Adoption Act Repeal Act.
Thanks, Lively.
Aye.
And consent bill be considered as read. Sir, yield. Questions?
Okay, 6443. Any questions for the bill author? Going once, going twice, seeing none, chair will close.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Can you just briefly tell us what the Stack Exchange is?
Stack Exchange, to my best of my knowledge, and we're relying on Senator Bowman to not say yes or no if I'm wrong or right, is a program, kind of like Wikipedia, kind of like a wiki that keeps track of information. And it's a special program that I don't think exists anymore. It was in a beta period, but it might still exist, but we have never done it before. We've never tried to set up a special type of website.
Okay, further questions? Going once, twice, seeing none. We are in a period of debate. Debate 4, Senator Massoud, I'll let you take it.
Please vote. Yield.
Okay, debate against. Going once, going twice. Seeing none, chair will deem debate one-sided. Move into a period of voting. This is a clicker vote. 6443. Everybody good? Everybody voted? No, okay, so some people have not. What's up, Scott?
Oh, we are voting now?
Yes, I'm sorry, voting's open. Okay, everybody good? Okay, close. And this certainly passes, and I will find the one person who voted E. Yeah, so this passes. Now 6444, the Senate Finance Committee bill.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent bill be considered as read.
Yes, sir.
Yield.
Okay. Questions for 6444, Senate Finance Committee bill. Okay, I will hold on a second. Senator Roberts.
Senator Roberts, support that. So is this going to eliminate the appropriations or the FAFSA?
It will, the Appropriations Committee sent, SFAB. No, this won't have anything to do with SFAB. What it will do is it will eliminate, if you're on appropriations right now, since you're already on another policy committee, since appropriations is not a policy committee, you won't be automatically be put on finance because you would have to prep it again. So all this will do is make Chair Thornburg the committee chair of finance, and then we'll have to reselect the committee members. Now, Chair McNutt's special fee committee is done. It's already, since we passed that SGA report, their duties are de facto over, right? So this is only affecting appropriations members. So you'll have to rejoin it, but it's only because you're already on another policy committee. I didn't want to take you off. I don't know if you're not on a policy. Are you on CA maybe? Okay, I wouldn't want to abduct you from CA. Make sense?
Sir, yeah.
Cole Young, College of Engineering. I'm doing this for my mom. Hi, Mom. My question is this going to continue for next year also, or just this year?
It'll continue forward forever.
So is it in the Constitution?
It's in the bylaws, so it'll stay there until future Senates, take it away or Jesus Christ comes back.
Okay, further questions? Going once. Senator Womack, is that a question or? Sure. Okay, that's right. Going once, going twice, seeing none. Close question and answer. Move to period of debate. Do I see debate 4, creation of Senate Finance Committee? Anybody want? Chair Thornburg, there you go.
Chair Thornburg, I think this is a great idea, not just because I become a chair, a real chair, but I think it's a great use of our time so that people aren't going to have to apply for an appropriations committee and they'll already be on a committee. I don't know if we have any finance majors in here, but if we do, I think this would be a great chance. I think this would be a great opportunity for you guys as finance chairs to be on the finance committee and look great on a resume. And I mean, appropriations look good, but I think it's something we should definitely do. So please vote for it.
Okay. Debate against. Going once, going twice, seeing none. Chair deems debate one-sided. To a period of voting. Take a quick vote. 6444. This whole medical school thing doesn't work out. I feel like I might have a career as an auctioneer. I feel like I have pretty good practice. Yeah. I gotta start conducting. Maybe I'll pick up the pace and test it out.
Can you stand right here? Just
Anybody, okay, yeah, we're good. Close. Yeah. Pass. All right, 6445, Senate, Executive Branch, Judicial Branch, Governance Council Status Quo Act.
Howdy.
Yes.
Without objection, consider the bill as read.
Yes, sir.
Alrighty. I do want to say a few things about this one, just to bring your attention to the changes we made. They were grammatical in nature. I wrote rid of injunction when I meant rid of mandamus. That's a quick fix. That's on page 10. And also, no one really flagged this, but I thought about this later. We have it to where if you violate a court order, you can be fined or removed. Not senators. I'm talking about general SGA members. I don't think would ever happen. But I wanted to put a qualifier on the removal because I didn't want that to be the first option. So it says here, after receiving at least 2 separate fines. So you got to violate an order twice in a row before that ever becomes an option. So with that's it. I'll yield.
Okay, Chair Harris.
I just had a quick question. Why are senators, I guess, why are we going to say that it's okay to fine other SGA members when we're not fining?
Senators can still be fined, but they just can't be removed. And the reason why is because I would think, and I would argue as the principal author of the constitutional law, that would be unconstitutional because removal procedures for senators are provided for in the Constitution. See what I mean? That's why that's it. Yep. It's not to give us a special status, it's just, it would be like illegal. So,
it would be like
unless Ben's okay with that.
Further questions? Going once, going twice. Seeing none, Chair will close question and answer. Moving to a period of debate on 6445, Executive Branch of the law. Senator Womack.
No, I think this is a really good bill. I think it clarifies the problem we had with the relationship between the bylaws and statutes. Code did an excellent job fixing that, but I do think it's very important that each branch maintain their own bylaws. Now this statute just delineates that authority, so there's no confusing, scary constitutional issues that Ben has to wrestle with later. So this will be something that I do want to encourage everyone that'll be here long after I am, which probably won't be any of you, is just make sure that we keep the bylaws. The Exec Council keeps their own bylaws, and J-Corp keeps their own bylaws, and this act is not messed with because that starts a whole bunch of really bad issues when you start trying to write other people's bylaws. So just a warning for the future.
Okay. Debate against. Going once, going twice. Seeing none, Chair James on side. Motion has been made for a voice vote. Is there a second? There is a second. All in favor of a voice vote, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Chair, that fails. We will take a clicker vote. 6445. Go. Student feedback for student services is on deck.
What are the other features of fishing?
Anybody need more time?
2 had tests, 1 had an interview, and 1 didn't show up. I thought they were around here. It's just me and her.
6446. Student feedback for student services bill.
Did that pass? Did that pass? Yes. Yeah.
In case you didn't read it, you should have. The bill basically asks that we have a system for students to be able to give their input to student services, directly to student services, not through SGA, although SGA needs to be able to see that input, which is why we have enacted 3. There really shouldn't be anything contentious about this bill. If you could scroll down, in case I'm forgetting anything. Yes, and we need to have student services advertise that hotline so that students actually know about it.
The only thing we've changed since it's come into committee is just changed the dining services to university dining to make it more consistent with today's department, and added our distribution costs. That's it.
And that's it. Any questions?
Okay, questions for bill authors? Going one. Yes, Senator.
So this is opposed to the current methods where they don't intend for feedback?
Right, there's no at least well-known way to go to dining services or some subset of student services and tell them, hey, this is messed up, there's a problem here that's obvious that you can fix, but I'm a student, I don't know anyone to go to get it fixed.
Okay, further questions? Going once, going twice, seeing none, chair will close question and answer, move to period of debate. Debate 4, do I see any debate 4? Anybody want to debate 4? Senator Spencer.
I think that this bill's a great idea because, you know, like we were talking about earlier today, there are several things that could be fixed really easily if only it was brought to the attention of the administration. So what better way than to cut out all the middlemen, all 73 of us in this room, and just let the students go straight to the administration and say, hey, the lights are burnt out here and I feel like I'm going to be attacked every time that I'm walking through this parking garage. Or, hey, this food field tastes rancid and I think that I might be sick. You know, things of this nature that they can fix really quickly if it's just brought to their attention. And so providing the students the tools to do that in a timely fashion rather than taking the 6-month roundabout through Student Senate is definitely a good idea. And with that, I yield to the floor.
Okay. Debate against. Going once, going twice, seeing no debate against. Chair deems debate one-sided. We'll close the debate. Moving to period voting. This is SB 6446. Motion has been made for a voice vote. Is there a second? There's a second. All in favor of the voice vote, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Nay. Committee chair will have a voice vote. All in favor of the legislation, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Nay. Committee chair passes. Next up, SB 6448, cleverly named the Friendlier Options for Obligatory Dining or Food Bill.
There are 19 co-sponsors on this. If you feel like joining me, come on up. You know, I felt like getting a lot of the Senate involved. So what this is about is the mandatory meal plan that they're on their 3rd day in my time here, so I'm going to just be switching randomly between them. University dining will be implementing on all residents on all freshman residents on campus starting this next year, and it'll be progressing onwards. There are 3 really big points to take home about this. One is the prices they were quoting us didn't include tax. So when they were saying it was only a $1,200 meal plan and it's only going to increase your rent by 80%, there's an extra $99 that they've just cleverly hidden there, and so it's actually increasing rent on some students by 90% over their current rates. So those are the students who live in the cheapest housing and probably are the students under the most financial hardship. You know, cheap housing, financial hardship, it's not a hard jump, or not a hard connection to make. Let's see here, what else? Also, so what we're requesting is that, one, whenever they quote us a price on a meal plan, they include tax in their quote. Very simple. It's the European system. I think it's a good one. What you see is what you pay. 2, we're asking that they stagger the rates. So that way, if you live in the cheapest housing, you are not being asked to pay more than 50% of your housing. That way, they're still getting the increased revenue they're asking for, but at the same time, we're spreading the financial burden to the people who are more capable of paying. By the way, 50% would be the people who live in the most expensive housing currently. They would pay the $1,299 meal plan they currently cover. And the third thing that we're asking is that they include smaller dollar value meal plans, so that way they can hopefully garner the people off campus to pay $200 or $400 to get a lunch or 2 every week on campus. So that way they can also try and recoup some of the revenue they would be losing by not exorbitantly charging all of the on-campus students a really ridiculous fee. Any of my co-authors? Any of the 19 of you have anything else to add?
Well, it's just that as a freshman, I was very much pleased to see that I had the option to see how much I eat. It is the most basic freedom. It is not, I have to eat, I will admit. But I get to choose how much and when. And they are taking that from us. And this is the first step in taking it back.
Everybody knows we've talked to, university dining over the past year trying to talk about getting rid of this idea. And they continually said no, no, no.
13 months worth of research.
They're keeping it. I feel like this is the next step we can take in order to, at least compromise in order to get a better deal for the students. If we don't get, completely removed, at least we're doing something.
You ready for questions?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Questions for the bill authors? Going once, going twice. Oh, Senator Hutchinson.
Senator Hutchinson, Freshman Caucus. You talked about students living in the most expensive housing. Are you aware that some students living in the most expensive housing are on full scholarship?
I am aware of that, and unfortunately there's no good way of fixing this problem because dining has repeatedly refused to have a financial aid waiver.
Just for like clarification, for example, like the living learning communities, like the Terry Living Learning Community requires that their students live in hobbies, which is a modular expensive housing.
Yes. Anybody who's a Regent Scholar is in Leckner, McFadden. There's the people who are required to live in Clements, et cetera, et cetera. And unfortunately, there's just because dining won't give us a financial aid waiver, there's nothing else we can do.
Further questions? Going once, going twice, please stay in order, Senate. Chair will close question and answer. We'll move to a period of debate. Debate 4, Senator Brown. Thank you. Sorry.
Senator Brown, Corey Cadets. I'll tell you something. What I like about this is we're trying to make a service committee do something for the students. Shocking, a service committee would serve the students. It's been a problem at Texas A&M, I think, recently with dining service and transportation services not serving the students. I think for once, having a bill that we're trying to sit there and bring back something for the students and have them kick back a little bit to the students, get some help with something that they're forcing us to pay for, that we have shown that students don't want. Multiple times, and they say, we don't care about the students' opinion. This is the one step we can bring to getting students some help on this bill over the situation of mandatory meal plans. And I yield to, I guess, to the floor. I don't know over there, Ryan.
Debate against. The senior debate against. Going once, going twice. Seeing none, chair deems debate one-sided. We will close the period of debate. We will now take a vote on it. Good. Motion has been made for a voice vote. Is there a second? There is a second. All in favor of voice vote, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Nay. Any ensure the nays have it. We will take a clicker vote, 64-48. You may begin. Anybody need more time?
Right.
Okay. And this passes. Approved bill has passed. With that, send me the bill. Senate, please return to order. 6450, Voter Initiative Act.
Without objection, consider the bill as read.
Yes.
Howdy, this is the voter initiative bill that we brought up before. We changed some of the clauses in it so that it can last throughout the years. The only way to do that was to make it an act, so we went ahead and made that change. It calls upon the student body president or his designee to continually work with the Office of Youth Student Programs to make sure that there's always a drive to ensure that people are registering to vote here in the community. And we asked for unanimous consent to change informational to information.
Section 2, subsection A, subdivision 2, unanimous consent to change informational to information.
Okay, alright, so, yeah, okay. Open to questions. Questions to the bill authors. Voter Initiative Act. Who wants to know something? Going once, going twice, seeing none. Chair will close question and answer. Move to period of debate. USC debate 4, Senator Sparsby.
I think this is a good idea to make sure that not only this year will we have a drive to make sure people are registering to vote, but throughout the years, all student body presidents or the designees in the student government will ensure that students coming into the university at their new student conferences will be informed of their right here in the community to register to vote and how big of an impact that has here at the university and our community.
I'm going to caution the right side of the room that side of the room is being an issue. With that, sorry, debate against. Going once, going twice, seeing none, chair deems debate one-sided. Close debate on SB 6450. Motion has been made for a voice vote. All in favor? Is there a second? Second? I see no second for, okay. All in favor of voice vote, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Nay. Make sure the nays have it. No? I've already called it. Do what? Once I've already called it. 6450. Anybody need more time? No? Okay. Close it. Amanda, you can close that. And that definitely passes. Somebody click D. I will find you. Next up, SB 6451, Veterans Academic Standards Bill. Okay.
Howdy. Well, I've always wondered just what power these bills have, and then we found out on this one just how much it can piss off an office. If you're curious, you can look at Whereas 6 and Enacted 1 just to see what just might have pissed off who. The thing is, it's a great bill. It has I remember Cody brought up last time the question, is this something we need to talk about a little bit more? That was probably the best idea. We need to talk about it some more. Get the holes in it. After I talk to y'all, I want to send it back to committee. But I want y'all to know we're still going to work on this. I highly encourage y'all to come out and talk to us about it. And our next veterans meeting is going to be on Tuesday at 5 o'clock. So please come see what's going on here. And if you like to fight, then this is going to be a fun one to go to. And with that, I'd like to move to Bill Action Committee.
Could get 6 points.
What was one of these people?
It's Whereas 6 and Enacted 1.
Yeah, do you want to take questions before it gets sent back?
Sure. I'm not a parliamentarian, sorry.
Okay. Service students first.
Howdy, Cody Bassoon, off campus. Would you like to elaborate, and feel free if you don't want to, on who you done wrong and what they had to say about it?
No. What I would like to do is be the bigger man here and not go after them just yet. I'd like to say this. Since 2008, Financial Aid has done a great job establishing an office out of nothing. This Veteran Services Office has only been here for the last, well, you've been here since 2008, right? Well, Veteran Services Office has only been here for a little bit, and they've done a great job making something out of nothing. And basically, we need to talk to them some more before we walk up into their house and tell them what they're doing wrong. In hindsight, that wasn't like the best act of us, and it needs a little more communication. I remember Ryan said at the beginning of the meeting, this is how a bill goes, and one of them is, hey, go talk to the offices first, and I'd like to be a testament to that. I want us to go talk to the offices first and move on from there.
Thank you.
Okay, Senator Jessup.
Withdrawn.
Drawn. Senator Thornburg. Chair Thornburg.
Rachel Thornburg, how'd your meeting today go? If you don't mind me asking.
Didn't go well.
Who was it with? Point of information?
Stage point.
Who was that with?
I'll defer that. Yeah, okay. Further questions? Going once, going twice, seeing none. Chair will close question and answer.
And Mr. Speaker, I'd like to move this, make a motion to move back to
Okay, move to the Academic Affairs Committee? Correct, yep, so move to second, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, that is referred back to the Academic Affairs Committee. Next up, SB 6452, New Business Consent Bill. Without objection, we'll consider as read.
It's basically, you know how we pass resolutions by consent, you just say, does anyone object to this resolution? And if no one objects, then they're passed, and that's all there is to it. Well, this would make new business work the same way. Nothing would be passed, no votes would be taken before, on anything on the consent agenda. All it would be for that first reading. If no one objected, then we could skip the presentation and send it directly to committee. This still allows, if there's a bill up there that someone wants to hear a presentation on, this still allows any senator can pull it down and say, I want to hear a presentation on this. So if there are presentations you want to hear, then there's nothing stopping you from doing that. It's just if no one wants to hear it, then, for the sake of time, I think there are a lot of these kind of non-controversial bills that can probably go without a 10-minute new business presentation. So this will just kind of speed up the process along. Nothing will be voted on off the consent agenda. Nothing will be passed without a vote. Renewed bills do not go on the consent agenda. And all this is for the first reading before things go to committee. So, and with that, I'll go to questions.
Senator Mandry.
Tyler Mandry, engineering. Just out of curiosity, do you know of any other legislative bodies that do something like this?
I don't. I will say, okay, it's not that I'm saying no one else does this, I'm not familiar enough with the internal operations of other legislatures and how they do their first readings.
I believe if I can provide some insight, I believe that all of Faculty Senate's entire agenda is a consent agenda. And correct me if anybody here that can contradict me, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe their entire agenda in Faculty Senate is a consent agenda. So they only pull down things that people want to talk about.
Yeah, and I will say that most small legislative bodies I've been to, like city councils, school boards, the Faculty Senate, most of what we would call old business is on a consent agenda. And it just passes non-controversially. So that doesn't usually happen in here. Usually there's some debate no matter what. But most of the time for things like, oh, we want to give $500 to fund this bench somewhere, or things like that, things that would take up an inordinate amount of a legislature's time can be passed by consent this way. And I've seen it happen a lot. So usually at each meeting they'll have 2 or 3 things that are actually controversial, and the rest they just kind of rubber stamp. I'm not advocating that here, but I think for the first reading it kind of makes sense.
Okay, with that, I will, Chair Bain, question?
Chairman, Rules and Regs. Senator Moen, what will this do for pre-meeting preparation for senators?
So all this will mean is that there's even more of a reason to read bills before they get here. If you have questions, and I realize that this meeting was a little bit abnormal in that we had 177 pages of legislation to read through. So anyone who read through all of it, good job. But at the same time, everything gets read twice on the floor. That's how a legislative system like ours works, where we have 2 readings. And it's just up to you if you have questions about something, or if you see something and you're like, wow, I think that's a little bit weird. Then you just have to pull it down, and then you have the opportunity to ask questions. So just come to the meetings prepared, and this won't cause a problem for anyone.
I'm going to pose my own point of parliamentary inquiry / point of information, and either one of you can answer this, but with this bill, is this the same consent agenda that our resolutions are on?
No.
It's not, so it's delineated that it's a different consent agenda. And is it possible to pass any bills, even under our current bylaws? I know we pass resolutions under consent agenda. Is it conceivable to put a bill on a consent agenda as it is right now? I've never even checked on that.
No, it is not.
Okay, so.
Yeah, in fact, there's an entirely separate section in the bylaws. The way the resolutions work is there are resolutions and there are consent resolutions. They're 2 completely different things in the bylaws. This is how it's set up. And when something is a consent resolution, it's pass by consent. And then if you pull it off of the consent agenda, it is then transformed into a normal resolution. That's kind of how this is set up. So this isn't set up quite that way. This is set up so that the bills stay how they are. Everything goes on a consent agenda, but nothing can be passed from it. It's just a different path for things to make it to committee, and then that can be voted on.
Point of parliamentary inquiry.
Yes, Mr. Point.
Mr. Speaker, will this bill take immediate effect and apply by the language of I, the first 3 lines, all bills being presented for first reading shall be placed on a consent agenda? Will that automatically happen tonight?
I will defer that to Chair Bailey.
Yes, it will. This is a bipartisan bill. It requires 2/3 vote, and it goes into enacting immediately.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now let me pose my own point.
Enactment.
Let me pose. I'm going to pose my own point of parliamentary inquiry because I want to be sure if we're about to pass this thing, then we do it correctly. On the agenda, these things are listed as new business. They're not listed on as a consent agenda. Do we have to make a motion for them to do that since they weren't listed that way on the agenda?
No, it is the speaker's privilege to organize the agenda how he or she sees fit.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure before we get down that road that I got. Okay. Senator Manager, you have a question?
Hello, Manager Engineering. I just want to clarify something I thought I heard, Scott. This will get rid of consent agenda as we have it now and make it so that we can't pass bills from consent agenda?
No, this will effectively mean that we have 2 different consent agendas. One of them is the one with the resolutions. Resolutions are passed from that consent agenda. The second consent agenda happens after old business, or whenever the speaker chooses to put it. The speaker chooses the order of the agenda, but not what's on the agenda, basically. So the second consent agenda will happen, and at that time, people can pull things off of it.
And that consent agenda goes to?
Yes, that consent agenda sends things to committee, and nothing can be passed from that consent agenda.
Chairman.
Howdy, Tom Smith, Student Services. Scott, thank you so much for coming and presenting this. You've done a fantastic job. Sorry. So, correct me if I'm wrong. What was that third part? Been told in the preface more. I'm trying to work on it. Correct me if I'm wrong. This will get us out of meeting earlier.
Theoretically, yes, unless someone pulls every item off of the consent agenda after it's already been put on there, then this would necessarily end meetings earlier.
That's all.
Okay, hold on, is that a point? Nope. Okay, Senator Womack.
Howdy, Mark Womack off campus. I was confused by there not being 2 different names for the consent agendas. I know we're keeping the old consent agenda and the new consent agenda. Is it possible, for the purposes of organizing thoughts, we name the new consent agenda something else? Might I suggest Womack's consent agenda?
It is technically up to the Internal Affairs Committee. They can call it CAT. They can call it. Anything can be called anything the Internal Affairs Committee wants. They set the agenda. So I think it would be perfectly reasonable for there to be a section entitled Consent Resolutions, and then the resolutions would be under that. And new business, and it's just understood that it's a consent agenda.
Awesome. Because it's a parliamentary structure, not a name. Exactly. Okay. So here.
So I think you just answered my question, but let me make sure. So going on College of Engineering, the consent agenda will also consist of new agendas. That
10 seconds.
Okay. Okay. So if you look at the agenda we have right now, I'm going to increase Q&A by
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
No,
2 minutes.
Damn it.
Yes.
Yeah.
What? Nobody needs to get thrown into the bubble. 2 minutes. Motion to extend by 2 minutes. There's no other questions on the list. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Nay. Okay, finish your sentence. You're still in the middle of it.
Okay, so what we currently understand as consent agenda is not this consent agenda. If you look at semicolon, if you look at the agenda you have now, what is called consent agenda, it has the resolutions on it. I would assume that would be renamed consent resolution. But y'all can do whatever you want. Semicolon. If you look at what is called business right now, excluding renewed bills, which would be delineated differently, I would guess, the consent agenda would just be that. So we still list all the bills under new business, and they would just be read by consent, and then sent to committee, unless someone objected to one of them, at which point a presentation would be given.
Objection, fragment.
I think an English teacher just died somewhere.
I hope it was mine.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Okay. All right. Everybody return to order. Okay. That concludes our time for presentation. And speaker will make a speaker's comment here. That is probably what will happen. Is I will just name it consent resolutions and consent business or something like that. Okay. So now we're in a period of debate. I saw Chair Bain first.
Chair Bain, Rules and Regs. When this first came up, I was really kind of worried about it, just because I didn't understand what the whole premise behind it, what the thinking was. After it coming to committee, which every single one of these bills that would be on this consent new business would still go to committee. I really like it. The committee process is probably one of the best ways to get bills refined, amended, and sent back to the Senate floor for a final vote. If we do not utilize the committee process to its utmost, we are literally slapping everything that we have inside of this book here in the face. And this is only going to help increase committee turnout. It's going to help us with inside the Senate meeting efficiencies. And I think it's a great idea. And I applaud Senator Rowan.
Yield the floor. Okay. Debate against. Going once. Going twice. Seeing none, chair deems debate one-sided. Motion has been made for a voice vote. Stage point.
It's a violent point of information.
Yes.
Why would we do a voice vote on a bylaws bill?
Why would we do a voice vote on a bylaws bill? I don't know that I have a good answer to that, so I'm motion withdrawn. Okay, there was no second, so there you go. All right, so clicker vote SB 6452. Amanda, can we get a clicker vote 6452? Thank you.
Stage one, should this bill pass, are there going to be any motions needed in order to vote what is currently new business on new businesses?
Yeah.
Or
It happens automatically. I've checked with Paul. We're good. So, with the exception that the University Anti-Discrimination Policy Bill is a renewal, so that is not on the consent agenda. Assuming we have a consent agenda after this vote. Okay, then here we go.
Wow.
That is possibly the only bylaw bill I've ever seen pass unanimously. Okay, a motion has been made for a 5-minute recess. Is there a second? Second. Yes. Okay, yeah, I'll why?
The reason why is to give people the opportunity, if they had not done so, to look through the new business consent agenda, and if they have a question, since it's going in right away, we'll give y'all an opportunity to kind of get used to it. So that's why.
There is a second. All in favor of the recess, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Nay. Okay, Fuchsia. Passes. I'll set the timer 5 minutes. Look over the stuff. Be back in here at 10:40.
I've never heard that. Never heard that.
Oh my God, that's a foot, not a flight.
Still in the bag. Trevor. Still in the bag. Still in the bag. What?
Wow, this is not a quorum. Do it.
Adjourning roll call?
Can we?
I'm here. Can I move that we take the adjourning roll call now, as of this moment, so we don't have to do it later, as of the moment that will be future to now?
I think that's out of order. All right.
I move to adjourn?
Do it.
I move to adjourn?
That's in order.
Second.
Hold on. Well, technically we haven't come back to order yet.
Oh, I'm waiting on a dime over here.
Hold on. Everybody come back.
I liked it.
Come back, sit down, shut up.
Consent agenda.
We return to order.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
I moved to pull 64, 63 from the consent.
We're not on the consent agenda yet because we got to do the renewal first. You see there, Seabiscuit. All right. Everybody, come back to order. Come back to order right now. Shut up. Don't make me come down there. I love recesses. They're always so easy to get back in. All right. With that, we are now in new business. We have first up SB 09 F14 old school numbering system, which is the Texas A&M University Anti-Discrimination Policy Bill renewal. So you have, and this, now I need to clarify for people, renewal bills are voted on in that meeting unless they're sent to a committee. So we might vote on this tonight unless something moves sent to a committee. So, Scott, take it away. Howdy.
Yeah, the new numbering system, or the old numbering system, I'm still convinced that it was only there so that Cody Basu could stand up and say, SB 09. Basically, this bill is a bill that was passed in the 62nd session, adopting an anti-discrimination policy for the school. And the way it was set up is it didn't actually write the policy; it just listed the terms or protected classes that would be included in there. So when I originally gave my debate, I think it was on an amendment that was made to this 2 years ago, where someone tried to add an organizational affiliation to it. And I explained that discrimination is a bad word, but when you hear discrimination, you think a bad word, but it isn't always a bad thing. Discriminate, like when you choose what color shirt you want to wear, you're discriminating against all the other shirts. When you put something on your resume, when you put that you're in a certain club or you had a job or something like that, you're asking them to discriminate in your favor based on that. So what we should protect against, though, and what harms our school is unfair discrimination or unreasonable discrimination. So kind of what's included up here is, I think, a pretty comprehensive list of things where if you make an employment decision based on this, or you treat someone badly in a class based on this, then you're not treating them that way because of their character or because of their achievements, but it's because of factors outside of control. And so that's kind of my test as to whether something should be included or not. Is it within their control? Does it say anything about their character? Or does it say anything about their merit? Or is there some reason for it to be there? With that, I think I'll yield to questions.
Alrighty. Questions? Question for the bill author, Senator Jenkins.
Are you aware of another non-discrimination policy bill that's currently in its infancy working through the Senate?
Yes, there is one. It's in new business.
Yes.
Further questions? Yes, Senator Sparks.
So, knowing Senator Jack Harden wanted to work on this as well, why didn't you work with him on his bill as opposed to just bringing this up and beating him to the sun?
Because one reason is that I wanted to show that this is an issue that SGA has been working on for a long time, but also we can get it voted on more quickly. They're basically the same, and if there are things that aren't in the second one that are in the first one or vice versa, then an amendment could be made, and this can be sent to committee. So I think it gives us more options to take what we feel is the right approach.
Okay, Senator T. Brown.
Was this bill renewed in the 63rd session?
No, it wasn't.
All of it?
Sure.
You know why?
It just never came up.
Okay, further questions? Further questions? Yes, Senator Basu.
Just to buy time. What are your thoughts on having a clause in this bill that just generally states, in addition, in Action 2 after discrimination, that states something to the effect of that, and the university is also opposed to any form of discrimination that is basically unreasonable, any unreasonable form of discrimination.
I mean, honestly, I think that is the perfect anti-discrimination statement, where it just says, we are opposed to any form of discrimination that is either illegal or not based on merit or character or whatever you want to say. But I think this is a comprehensive, this list is comprehensive without being redundant and kind of covers everything, so.
Okay, next up, Senator T. Brown. Again.
Are there any student authors in this bill? Or just class members?
It was written 2 years by two people who were senators 2 years ago, Crystal Usher and Willie DeSera. Crystal Usher is sitting right there. And Willie DeSera is, I don't know what he's up to now.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but our bylaws 2 years ago did not allow for non-senators to be bill authors.
Right.
So
that actually came up after this.
Yeah. So this
What about
yes.
sponsors? Should they be sponsors?
No, there was no way for a student to have their name on it.
Yeah, basically with renewed bills, it's kind of weird because this was before we created the distinction between authors and sponsors. So it used to be that only senators could be bill authors, and then we changed that in the 62nd session so that anyone could be a bill author, any student, but only senators could be sponsors. So what happens when you renew a bill is that the senator who does that becomes the sponsor of that bill, and then the original authors stay on as authors of the new bill. So when this gets printed out in its 64th session format, it will say introduced by Crystal Usher, William DeSera, with no titles there, and then it will say sponsored by Senator Scott Bowen, engineer. Okay. Senator Clackley's next. It's a little under 2 minutes remaining.
Would I be supremely out of order to try to hawk this to committee right now?
Yes, you have to wait until after the question and answer period.
Okay, I'll wait.
Okay, Senator Davis. Okay, Chair Harris.
Jody Harris, Constituency Affairs. Scott, what's in this policy that is not currently in Texas A&M's policy?
I'm not exactly sure. I think I want to say that and I could be wrong about this, but I want to say that Texas A&M's policy does not include sexual orientation, gender. Yes, actually, that'd be good.
And brief follow-up.
Yeah, sure.
Why do you know why in the 62nd session why the university was, or why this didn't get changed, or why we're doing it again?
Honestly, my guess would be that either they, and I don't really know. I mean, that was kind of exec seal. My guess would be that it just kind of fell through the cracks.
Thank you.
Senator Curtis.
Does this bill call on the Texas A&M system to adopt this change?
It does not specifically. And I want to make clear also that this could be sent to committee or amended. So if that was something someone wanted to do.
Just more parliamentary inquiry. Sure. Can we? I mean, we're not because we're the student senate of Texas A&M rather than the system. Can we? I mean, I guess we could always ask them, but I mean.
We can ask anybody anything we want. I mean, in that regard, we could ask Santa Claus for puppies if we wanted to. Yeah, it's under the Santa Claus. Hold on, Senator Sparson.
Can it be amended without going back to committee?
Yes. I'm sorry, say that again?
Can it be amended without going back to committee, like
Paul, can it be amended without going back to committee first and passed today?
Yes, as far as actually. That's the only way. Yeah, actually.
Okay, yes, yes.
Renewals can be amended?
Yes.
Yeah, yes, because I know we passed an amended renewal just the other day.
In fact, renewals can only be amended. So you actually can't send it to committee and then amend it. You can only amend it with a formal.
Okay, is that a question or a point?
That's a question.
Okay, we got about 20 seconds left, so hit it.
Just real quick, can we do something that affects the system, or does it have to go through the student governments of all the system schools? Because I don't know.
I mean, we can tell anybody to do whatever.
Okay. All right.
We can go to the legislature or the system or individual colleges or anything we want to.
Okay, that concludes our time for question and answer.
Mr. Speaker,
yes.
I move to send this bill to committee.
Motion has been made to send this bill to which committee?
The one that it should go to.
That would be legislative affairs, I believe. Yeah. Because this is. It's not an internal. Sorry, Cody.
While it is in your discretion, I would say that the subject matter of this bill is entirely AA related.
And I would disagree because this encompasses employment and it encompasses.
Actually, okay, point of information, which committee was this sent to in the 62nd session?
That's an excellent question, and I don't know. It was my committee. Student services. Whoa. Yes.
The vice president for diversity falls under the provost, an academic position here at the university.
Point of information.
Okay, hold on. He was first. He got it first.
Is this not an on-campus, non-specific academic issue?
On-campus, non-specific academic. Well, it's not necessarily just on campus because it encompasses off-campus.
If it's something that we deal with that affects us on campus, okay.
I believe
that it's not involving.
I gotta ask a question. This is not only students though, right? This is also faculty and staff. Is that correct?
Yes. Okay. I petitioned the speaker to, since we're having a fight over which committee it should go to.
We want.
I petitioned the speaker to pose a question to the body, which would be an informal vote, as to which committee it should go to. One for SS, two for AA.
Can we all yell at one time?
Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna answer I'm gonna call it a point of personal preference from Scott to find out where people want it sent. So I'm gonna let this happen. So raise your hand if you think it should go to AA.
They don't get it.
They don't get a vote. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
I think they should rotate.
Okay, great. If you think it should go to SS. Okay, and if you think it should go to legislative affairs. Okay. I'm going to agree with the body. Now mind you, this is all up to Senator Fleckley and where he chooses to motion to send it. Because we're still in his motion.
Thank you for your power. I appreciate your power.
I tend not to be finished with
Point of order. I move to send this lovely bill renewal thing to student services as to go with the majority of the vote that I voted in.
Motion has been made to send this bill renewal to the Student Services Committee. Clearly a second. All in favor, please say aye. Sage point. You're right. I'm sorry. You did just send that to me, and I forgot. This is a debatable motion. So, Senator Fleckley, you have 2.5 minutes to say why you think it should go.
You people. The nicest, non-derogatory way as we're talking about discrimination. Hey, good news though about Student Senate committee meetings are open. So if you do feel passionately about this bill and it does go to Student Services as it should, you can still go and talk and deal with it in Student Services. And I'm sure that Chairman Nutt will welcome you with open arms as we're trying to do with this bill. Go.
Okay. Thomas Nutt, Student Services.
Please stay over.
Anyway, we just need to ask, whose bill is this? And obviously, authors are no longer in the Senate, but the Senator brought to the floor. Scott thinks he's coming to SS. We voted. Majority of everybody wants to come to SS. It's a non-campus, non-academic issue. We got a whole lot of people in it. Everyone's welcome. We'll take care of it. This doesn't have to be complicated. Thanks. And gig 'em.
Okay. Debate against.
Don't do it.
Okay, great score.
Not that I don't think it should go to C or SS, but if you think about it, constituency affairs is the better choice because every single person who is affected by this bill is a constituent of either us or the faculty senate. And with that, I don't know if anyone else wants to talk, but Cody Davis.
Hold up. I'll hear your point of information.
If that were true, wouldn't all bills go to constituency affairs?
Okay, hold on. That's dilatory, that's debatable, and that was not addressed to me, so sit down. Okay. Now, shut up. I'm about to start calling people out of order. Senator Davis has the floor.
No, at least you should go to LA because we don't experience anything. We high five and then we leave. That's our meeting. And plus, we want to talk about jurisdiction. This falls under the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, saying no one should be denied any of these privileges, so it goes with us.
Okay. Motion that is in order. Motion has been made. Previous question. It's been seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Nay. Okay, we're taking a vote. All in favor of sending this bill to the Student Services Committee, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Nay. Okay, it was called. Stand if you want to sit there. Stop moving around, make your decision, and stay quiet. All right, I'll oppose. Sheriff Oliver, I'm marking you down as out of order.
Excellent.
Yeah, okay, clearly passed. Stage point.
That was 32 to 17, right?
That's what we just said, yes.
Point of order fails.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct.
Majority vote. A motion to commit to a committee is a majority vote.
Senator Womack.
Hey everybody, real quick, let's not go crazy. I motion to send this piece of legislation to the LA committee.
Sorry, we just found out that was a mistake. It is majority. It just got sent to SS.
Mr. Speaker. Yep.
I move to pull SB 64.
Just go to their meeting. It's fine.
No, not that bill. Okay, I move to pull.
Everybody needs to.
Point of order, who has the floor?
I have the floor.
He does have the floor.
Oh, thank you. I move to pull SB 6463, the election regulations changing bill, whatever it is, off of the new consent agenda that we now have.
Okay, that doesn't have to be a motion. If you object, it's off. So we'll get to that in just a second, because if anybody wants anything pulled down, it will get pulled down. So don't worry about it. It doesn't require a motion. So hold on a second. There was a point over here, Senator Young.
Point of information, how good were we doing before that last bill actually came out? And can we try to retain I'm doing good?
Yes, we were doing very well. We have 30 minutes remaining. I will remind the body of that. Yes.
Okay. In order to establish an orderly precedent for considering new business items on the consent agenda,
yes,
would it make the most sense to go through them one by one, say this bill is considered read and referred without objection, this bill is considered read and referred to, insert committee here, gavel, and then at that time is when you object, just so that you don't have 10 people all objecting to different bills at the same time.
I like it. I like it. Okay. All right. We just sent. Wow, I just wrote down the wrong one. We just sent. Okay. We just sent SB 09 F14 to the R64 to the Student Services Committee. We are now in the consent agenda process. So I'm going to go through line by line. I'm going to say the bill number and raise your placard if you want it taken off. We won't discuss it immediately. We'll come back to it. Does everybody get it? Okay. SB 6439. Okay, all right. That is referred to the Student Services Committee. Yo.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Point of personal preference, could you also read the title as well as the number?
Yes, I will. Transportation Expansion Bill. Going once, going twice. Student Services Committee.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me keep track. I don't want to lose any of these. SB 6453, SG Constitution Improvement Act.
Point of order.
Yeah, situation.
Code, not
Code,
constitution.
sorry. SGAC. SGAC Improvement Act. Going once, going twice. RR. SB 6454, SGA Endowment Regulations Act. Going once, going twice. RR. SB 6455, Student Body Referendum and Recall Petitions Act is pulled down. SB 6456, Senate Meeting Shortening Bill, pulled down. SB 6457, Modernized Non-Discrimination Policy Bill, pulled down. SB 6458, Mosier Lane Safety Bill, pulled down. SB 6459, SGA Allocation Regulations Amendment Act, going once, going twice. RR. SB 6460, the Executive Branch Committees, Commissions, and Other Offices Act, going once, going twice. RR. SB 6461, the Opposition to Off-Semester Student Fee Implementations Act, going once, going twice. Student Services. SB 6462, the Sunset Commission Act, going once, going twice. RR. SB 6463, definitely pulled down. SB 6464, the Ticket Pole Power Outage Bill, going once, going twice. Student Services. And finally, SB 6465, pulled down. Okay, that was pretty efficient. Did we like that?
I like that.
All right. First one is 6455, Student Body Referendum and Recall Petitions Act. You have 10 minutes for a presentation, 5 minutes for Q&A.
Speaking without objection, consider the bill as read.
You got it?
6465. I didn't see who objected, but I'll briefly summarize it for everybody here. Basically, what this does is the new Constitution that went into effect that starts on the 20th of February vests power in the Chief Justice to consider basically referendums and petitions. Okay, so this puts in place basic regulations governing those petitions. Things such as how you start a petition, how you distribute a petition, how you sign a petition, how you deliver a petition, what happens whenever a petition is reviewed by the Chief Justice, what's a signature, and then how the election is conducted. So, that's it. Questions?
Okay, questions? Questions to the bill author? Going once? Going twice? Chair sees no questions, and this is referred to the RR committee. Next up, SB 6456, the Senate Meeting Shortening Bill.
Objection considered as read.
You got it.
All right. Howdy. What this does is shortens the length of Senate meetings. Primarily what this does is mandates that committee meetings be public, which in turn forces people to attend those and allows students to attend those, which in turn brings discussion to those meetings rather to our open forums. The next one allows committees to postpone bills so that they don't have to sit there every meeting retaining, right? I think AA did that, and not sure whether we could, but we're going to catch you on the flip side. Rules of debate shortens the length of all old business items by, if I'm doing my math here correct, that's 7, 8, 12 minutes per bill. Okay, by default, 12 minutes per bill shorter. For new business, anything that is not on consent, anything like this, would be shortened to that as well. And any amendments are shortened, I think, by about 6 minutes. So all in all, if you average those up, if we had debate and followed these rules, that could add up easily to 2 hours. Finally, the agenda, we get rid of student work forum and SGA work forum. Why? Because that can just be an open forum. We also limit open forum to 20 minutes. Not the number of people, but 20 minutes. So there's 100 people, 20 minutes divided by 100. If there's 10 people, 20 minutes divided by 10. Why are we doing that? Because effectively students could theoretically hijack the entire meeting if 1,000 of them showed up. We just sit there only. Now, let me get this straight. With this, students should attend committee meetings, and that's where an opposition to bills should be lodged. Committees should then vote against bills if the students come with, enough thoughts of opposition to them. We shouldn't waste time on this floor with those. That's the intention there. Also, I limit the ability of the speaker to set up special presentations during General Assembly meetings. That prevents administrators from coming in and speaking for about 45 minutes. We limit that to 20. So this is all there. Also, closing and opening roll calls by electronic voting if it's available. If it's available. We have them in the room. That will decrease the roll call time we have from about 4 minutes to maybe 25 seconds. So all in all, should be about an hour to 2 hours saved.
Okay. With that, first question, Senator Womack.
Withdrawn.
Withdrawn. Senator Young.
Cole Young, College of Engineering. I got 2 questions for you, but it's the only one I got now. Why do you think that more debate and access to students should be taking place during off weeks than during the main weeks? For example, my students that I represent might not necessarily be able to impact that decision of making of the bills more or less then. So why is that more effective than what it is now?
Okay, let me clarify. I'm not limiting the ability of a student to come and speak in open forum. They can still come.
No.
And in 90% of cases, it's under 20 minutes anyways. Now, talking about committee, about them being able to impact committee. Well, I mean, they already had that authority now. And if I'm a student, and I've been in this situation before, and I want to voice my concern about a bill, I want to attend the meeting, and I want to be there. And sometimes I don't know when that is. And this will ensure that that is the case, without a penalty clause. That's the primary difference between this bill and this as far as Senator's clause. So, in short, answer to your question, they can still influence it here and there and everywhere. Probably.
Next up, Chair Thornburg.
Rachel Thornburg, Coles. You talked about pushing the importance of the student body going to committee meetings, but since not every senator attends committee meetings, do you feel that this is justified for students to get their voice out in committee? No, yours is different. In committee meetings. Does that make sense?
Okay, basically, okay, the committee doesn't have every senator there, of course, because we can't operate with everybody committee as a whole for everything. But the key thing is the committees have minutes and they can report opposition. And the senators that are there can then come to the floor and say, we had 100 students show up to SS and they were opposed to this bill. 10 members of the SS committee voted to pass it out of committee and 9 of us voted against it. And I'm one of the 9 and I'm opposed to it along with all those hundreds of students. So there is.
I'm sorry.
Can I read it?
Sure. Yeah.
Are you trying to push more senators going to more committees?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Next up, Senator Spartan.
If 100 students feel passionate enough to come speak, are you prepared to give them 12 seconds to speak in open forum?
Under the current system, 2.5 minutes apiece would be 250 minutes, which would be the entire meeting. If 100 students feel that passionately, then they're basically going to be saying the same thing over and over again. In the Texas House, what the committee chairs ask is, if you're going to make a statement, be unique, okay? If somebody before you's already lodged opposition, let them speak. Now, register as opposed to the bill. That's what they do in the State House, is you have maybe 5 people speak on something, but 200 come to the meeting and write down their names that they're opposed. Also, the new Constitution has the referendum power of the student body. It's stronger than ever. They have that option as well. They can email their student senators. They can come here, and if they want 12 seconds apiece, by golly, they're going to get 12 seconds apiece. I know of no other way to handle this, okay? I mean, if you got to create a solution, that's fine. But if we do not limit open forum, that is a big potential for abuse. Okay?
That's the last question I see. So, did you have one?
No, I have one.
Sure.
It's
Okay. Further questions? Going once? Going twice? RR.
Thank you.
Okay. Next speaker. Yes.
In the interest of time, I would like to bring SB 6463 up for presentation.
Right now?
Right now, yes.
Okay, so rather than wait, we're going to deviate from the agenda, go to Election Regulations 2011 Update Act. Motion is made. Is there a second? Second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, we will do that. So next up is SB 6463. 10 minutes.
Alright, so we are going to be working on this year's election regulations. This is something that the RR committee has been and will continue to work with the election commission throughout the entire election. So Kyle's committee has been meeting, has had a lot of good things brought up. They have changed the previous election regulations. We're putting them into a statute, and he's going to give a presentation on what his committee has come up with and why that's so.
Thank you, Chair Bing. All right, like I said, my name is Kyle Jackson. I am the election commissioner this year. And first of all, let me say thank you to all the senators who came out to our forum meeting. You will see in the election regulations that many of the ideas that were brought up at that presentation or that forum are actually utilized in the rules this year. So we took the student opinion into, I guess, large consideration. So, first of all, okay. We do have a presentation. It's coming. But a little bit about the rules and regulations this year. We've had a lot of discussions in the past about the rules and regulations were not clear. A lot of things were left up to the discretion of the election commissioner. This year, one of our main targets was to reduce the discrepancy in the rules, make it to where everybody who reads them can understand them, and it's not left up to a guessing game. And so that was one of the largest, I guess, initiatives when we were writing the rules. But as you can see up on the screen, our 4 target goals in the executive branch and also the election commission was first and foremost to increase voter turnout. We think that is one of the best ways to get the most representative Senate, class president, RHA president, your executive officer. That's the best way to do it. Second, we want fair elections. Basically, like it leads to what I was saying prior, that we don't always have the rules are not always as clear. And I think to make fair elections, you have to have clear rules. Deregulation is another key. It goes along with our fourth point, the enforceable regulations. If you can't enforce it, you might as well not have it. And so that is the job of the election regulations, is that if you cannot enforce this rule, you do not need to have this rule because it does not make the rules any clearer if you have it. So if you can go to the next slide. All right, so here are the proposed dates of the election cycle. So as you can see, we would start in early February at the 6th, which would be, or I guess really the 5th, which would be an endorsement period, which I'll go in and explain a lot of these different periods of time in the election calendar. So if I would start, your next week would be the mandatory candidates meeting on a Sunday night, followed by a pre-campaign period. And then general campaign the next week with the same structure as I guess the voting period was last year. So to talk a little bit about the endorsement period. Okay, so this is the period of time where candidates can seek endorsements from student organizations across campus. Now, one of the things about the endorsement period is that it has changed, which will be addressed a little bit later in the presentation. But what this does is, in the prior bill, when we were talking about getting, I guess, revamping the runoff election period, we talked about how we want to make it to where it's more representative of the student body. That we want a candidate who is non-commissional, who can come up that is not a part of these organizations that have a strong hold upon elections. Bring those candidates. They can go, and it can be a platform-based, speaking, getting to know, knowing the policy of that candidate, that they can go and they can run and have the same chance as an individual that has a lot of backing in other organizations across campus. That is the job of the endorsement period, that they can get their name out there and that they can show students across campus what they stand for and what they plan on doing while they're in office. So it occurs concurrently with filing. If you looked at the dates and I guess on the calendar, what this does is, like I said, it's going to increase candidate visibility. But it's also increasing voter turnout. It's one of our largest initiatives here. But if you can get more students aware that voting is going to occur and that elections are going to happen, you will increase voter turnout. And I believe that strongly. And statistics that we've done support that. So if you can go to the next slide for a pre-campaign period. Pre-campaign period has been redefined a little bit from past regulations. So the pre-campaign period, along with the endorsement period, it's the period of time where candidates and campaign staff may speak to any university-recognized student organization. So the only restriction is, and this was in place last year, that you cannot distribute campaign materials, you cannot distribute flyers, and you cannot hold up signs. So basically what this entails is that students or these candidates are able to go to these organizations, but endorsements are still happening at this point. That they're allowed to go and get the endorsements of the organizations, but they're also able to speak to other student organizations across campus. It once again builds up that the non-conventional candidate can come and run, as well as any other individual that decides they want to seek an office of student body president or senate. So another point is media outlets are allowed. If the BAT wants to run an article, the BAT can run an article during the pre-campaign period. I think that it should not stifle the free speech of different media outlets across campus or the community. So, going to the next slide for endorsements. Talking about endorsements, I said they revamped. Basically, if you read the rules from last year, endorsements were very hard to come by, and it was actually very hard.
About 4 minutes. 4 minutes.
Okay. Student organizations did not participate in them. What we've done is we've revamped this process. So, like I said, the way the endorsement period or endorsements work is that you approach the governing body of the organization. At that point, it is in the hands of the organization, their group. If they want to choose to bring a vote to the general member council, then they can. And then it's selected by a majority vote. It's no longer 2/3. It makes it much easier for student organizations to endorse a candidate. And a no advisor signature is needed. All that's required are 2 signatures from 2 members of the governing body of the organization. So, moving on to violations. In the violations, we've now revamped this as well. This was an area of concern when my commission came in, that we want to make it to where it was more defined. So, what we did is we decided that there are 2 tiers now. Major offenses, which include breaking the law, campaign sabotage, voter fraud, falsified documents, withheld finance reports. Now, what happens is there are only 2 consequences for major violations. You either have a maximum fine of 15%, which was already in the rules, or disqualification, once again, was already in the rules. However, what changes is the way that we assess these violations. From now on, it's not up to the discretion of the election commissioner. If you read the prior rules, it was up to my position to say, this person's disqualified. From now on, it's with the election commission, with the election commissioner only casting the tie-breaking vote, or if it's needed to a majority. So that removes the bias from my part, because that has not always been the case in past elections. So moving on to the next slide for violations, your tier 2 offenses are your minor offenses. So we're split major and minor now. So anything for minor offenses, like I said, it's anything that not a major violation. So if it's decided that it's not a major violation, it goes to minor, just automatically. And there it's assessed in 2 different ways. If it's a major race or a minor race. What this major race is, it's a base $20 fine with a $5 increase for each subsequent related offense. Now, these major races have been reclassified as well. Major races are including student body president and yell leader, based solely on the amount of their budget, which has stayed the same since last year, so $1,800. Now, for minor races, which include Senate, Senate, RHA, class president, because their threshold or their budget amount is lower than the threshold of $1,000, has been reclassified as a minor race. Now, we did not see it fair to fine a senator the same amount that you fine a student body president, because if you look at percentages, it would have been, probably 33%, 33 in some cases, or individuals, 20%. It's not fair. So we assess a lower violation with a $2 increase for each subsequent related fine. Now, to talk about that, if you commit a violation, and then you commit the same one again, what that does is you're assessed $5, and then you're assessed a $7. If you commit another offense that is not related, that has nothing to do with it, you're assessed $5 and $5. What this does is it makes it standardized across the board so that their bias cannot come in when assessing violations to different candidates. And then you can go to the next slide. For finances, this is just a slide I wanted to put up. We have a lot of questions that are asked about how do you classify campaign materials. We've included a flow chart. Basically, you follow it down. If you have any questions, of course, you can ask us. But this makes it simple to understand, because the rules are definitely not clear in a lot of situations where people can't understand. And then last is the transparency section. Transparency, what it is we're going to release the expense reports of runoff candidates. What this allows to do is allow everyone to see what they bought and if there were any problems with that. So within 24 hours after general election results, the runoff candidates' expense reports will be made available. And then within 12 hours of the runoff results, they will be made publicly available through election.tammy.edu. Yeah, next slide. So, is there any questions?
Okay, so, Senator Lewis first.
Yes, what is the difference between the endorsement period and the pre-campaign period?
Okay, the endorsement period is a period of time where that candidate, or that, I guess, potential candidate, depending if they have filed, can seek the student organization governing body. And they say that I would be interested in you endorsing me. So you only go to the governing body, which is outlined in the rules. Then, at that point, it's taken over by the student organization. The speaking period is if, say, an organization decides not to endorse a candidate, you can still go speak at that meeting. What that allows is it opens up for all student organizations that if you can get permission from that student organization, you are allowed to go and say, and give your 1 minute spiel, 20-second spiel, whatever. It allows more visibility for candidates.
Okay, Senator Major.
I'm just wondering how that period that you're just talking about gives candidates that aren't already in office like an advantage. Is that the intention?
Not necessarily candidates that aren't in office. It's so that everyone is on an equal playing field. That you can go and you can speak to an organization, and someone else that is in office, or whether they're not in office, can go and speak to an organization. It makes it available that where candidates can get their name out and get also their platform out, which is the most important aspect of candidacy.
I got a couple. I'll come back to you if I can. S. Brown. Okay, Chair Harris.
I had just a quick question about the physical polling locations. I know last year, at least for the runoff, I remember there was no physical polling location on West Campus, and I was wondering if that may be a possibility.
Okay, so there were actually no polling locations last year.
Okay.
So yeah, to answer your question, there were no polling locations last year. This year, we will be opening up polling locations. There will be one on main campus, and there will be one on West Campus.
Woo.
Because it needs to cater to where West Campus students do not have to go over to main campus in order to do it, which is also facilitating.
Senator Pursuit.
Howdy, Cody, Masudov campus. I might be old school. I used to pay money to the election commission when I get a fine. What's your opinion on bringing back monetary fines?
I do not think that a candidate should be assessed a fine in monetary amounts. What it does is we retract from the budget. The intent of increasing the fines and making them more standardized is that it actually, I don't want to say hurt, but it actually makes candidates think about the actions that they commit. So where that $20 fine it's roughly about 1.67% of the student body president and yell leader budget. You get enough of them, well, that's going to equal to 15% of what is the maximum one-time allotted fine. So the whole intent is to make it to where it doesn't, I guess, kill them, but it makes them think about what they're doing. But no, I think more so it should be retracted from the budget rather than they go and pay a registrar and the registrar puts on that.
Thank you, Senator Spencer. Okay, Senator Manager, you guys real quick follow up.
Just real quickly, how exactly do we give senators more visibility over last year with the regarding my previous question? How do we give candidates more visibility by letting them go to organizations? They could do that last year.
But for not the time that we've given this year. Yes. So what you see this year is about a week and a half extension, but it's not active campaigning where it bogs down the student body and makes them basically voter apathetic. So what this does, it allows them to get their name out, get their face out, their policies, their platform, and it gives them more visibility in that respect. Thank you.
Okay. With that, further questions? Going once, going twice, saying none. RR. Next up. Yes.
In the interest of time, I know we only got 5 minutes or so, so we're not out here in mad rush. I just motion that each of the following presentations be made 30 seconds, just a quick summary, and then be sent to committee.
Okay, that's motion made. Is there a second? Second. All in favor, please say. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, you can show your eyes have that. Every one of these will now be 30 seconds.
What about question and answer?
There was no question and answer included in that motion. So.
Okay, point of order, yeah.
Well, that.
Point of order, his motion could be construed as 0.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. So the next bill is the anti-discrimination policy bill, 6457.
Okay, in 30 seconds. Howdy. Howdy. This bill's about equality. It's about protecting people from discrimination, and you can read it. So that's 30 seconds. So.
Okay, great. Thank you. So with that, I'll send that bill to I'm going to send it to the same committee, so the Student Services Committee, because it's the same content. Yes, Steve.
But this bill deals with the Texas A&M.
Bill decision, Chair.
Okay, that's fine. So you're appealing my decision to send it to Student Services because it deals with the system. So that, then I'll send it to Legislative Affairs. Okay. Motor lane safety bill. Can you give it 30 seconds? And I do mean 30 seconds.
Howdy.
Howdy.
This bill addresses a concern by the motorcycle parking lot in the south side next to Commons, the extension of motion lane.
Send it in order.
It is not an anti-motorcycle bill or anti-motorcyclist bill. It is the pro-safety bill.
10 seconds. Is that it? Okay, with that, send that to Student Services. Last up, SB 6465 General Studies Support Bill.
Howdy. Okay, if you want to know what the AOC deans are doing to general studies, please read the bill. If you want to know why, come talk to me after. But a bunch of students got together and decided that we don't like what they're doing and want to impose it. We had to take a stand on some issues. So basically what we decided is that we want to allow freshmen to go into general studies to give them some time to decide, but that we want to impose a time limit on their decision, something like 2 semesters rather than 4 semesters, because if they stay in for 4 semesters, then there's graduation sense. However, if we do impose that sooner time limit, it will help them prioritize and figure out what they want to do in their life.
Academic affairs. Okay, done.
Can I have a 10-second committee report?
We're almost there. We're not 2 committee reports yet. Technically, I have to open session.
Close open session.
Motion to close open session. All in favor of closing open session, please say aye. Aye. Closed. Okay, so it's closed. Announcements. Anybody have anything dire pressing? Amanda?
Please read the email I just sent out with next week. You still have committee reports or committee meetings. However, most of them are going to be changed because of Thanksgiving break. So please talk to your committee chairs. Find out if you're having a meeting and if so when. Thanks.
Stay in order. Rachel Thornburg.
Bonfire Memorial is Thursday night, Friday morning at 2:42. I better see each and one of your shining faces there.
Maybe it's not appropriate to go after this game.
Senator Scarlett. Withdrawn. Mr. Woolman. Okay. I'll close announcements. Committee reports. 10 seconds.
Just one thing. Okay, so guys, we need 20 more t-shirt orders. Please. You all agreed to do the t-shirts. Please follow up on that.
Oh, it's 30 minutes. Right now.
It's in 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Do it now. Do it right now.
Okay. Yeah, Jody.
Academic affairs is going to be next Monday at 9 in SGA office.
Okay. Going once. Okay. Closing roll call. I swear, stay in order.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
I move that the closing roll be done.
It can't be done. It cannot be done. Sorry.
Okay.
I'll be really fast. Dane.
Howdy.
Smith.
Howdy.
Barber.
Howdy.
Snyder. McNutt.
Howdy.
Harris.
Howdy.
Kalsner.
Howdy.
Calvin.
Howdy.
Branson. Thornburg. Millikan. Lastaviga. Gonzalez. Riley.
Howdy.
Robertson. Brown. Brown.
Howdy.
Reeves.
Howdy.
Keeper. Strickland. Miller.
Howdy.
Young.
Howdy.
McCarrick.
Howdy.
I can't hear, sorry guys, you have to be quiet. Chen, Hutchison. Howdy. Casada.
Howdy.
Pittman.
Howdy.
Melendez. Howdy. Hughes.
Howdy.
Morgan Knight. Nelson.
Howdy.
Altendorf.
Howdy.
Natinger. Kingsbury. Jessup.
Howdy.
King. Morris. Kelly. Hernandez. Sosa.
Howdy.
Harry.
Howdy.
Hernandez. Howdy. Lehetsky. Struble. Murkowski.
Howdy.
Bonner. T. Brown.
Howdy.
Castilleja. Howdy. Kyrie. Howdy. Esparza.
Howdy.
Keith. Howdy. Hilton. Clefley.
Howdy.
D'Souza.
Howdy.
Watson. Luce.
Howdy.
Murad. Howdy. Davis.
Howdy.
Robert. Shutt. Howdy. Hill. Howdy. L. Sullivan. Howdy. R. Sullivan Van Dyne.
Howdy.
Marisco Womack.
Oh, Benz.
Adams.
Howdy.
Henneman.
Howdy.
Adjourned.
Hey Cody, let me stop this.
Yeah, stop recording.
Oh, man.
True.